I'm Joe Morad. I'm a audit principal at Miller Cooper and Company in Chicago, Illinois. I'm also the head of our audit practice there. Total firm-wide, we're about 550 personnel. Our audit group is about 150 of those 550. As far as our audit practice, it's really focused on privately held businesses. We were an advanced CPA subscriber, RSM's, third-party service for, again, the better part of 20 years. We were notified about a year ago that they were discontinuing that service, and really we needed to be off of their platform by the end of 2025. Now, we had, been using Caseware working papers, through them, so we had, I would say, a pretty good understanding of a lot about Caseware, their products, how it worked. You're talking about a practice that has, 900, 1,000 engagements that are going through it, in our audit group at Miller Cooper, and that's a very heavy lift to change over all at once. So we needed to be really thoughtful in, okay, how can we make it work? We're dealing with several generations in the workforce right now, any industry really, but, also in accounting. So you have folks that are, baby boomers, maybe leaving the industry in the next, handful of years or so, and then folks that are, Gen Zs coming in. So there's a wide variety of technological skills and, and or just interest or want to learn something new. So when we kind of, were talking to DAS, it felt like it was a good combination of all those pieces where it was forward-looking, it was, native to the cloud, and also, being partnered with CPA.com, AICPA, you kind of have almost this gold standard of, okay, it's coming directly from the source who's setting those standards for our audits. And you have this little bit of comfort that, okay, they're doing the right thing, and it will stand up on any regulatory issue, any peer reviews, other types of items. So we're doing our audits correctly to the best that we can. When we really sat down and said, okay, we need to find a solution now in a very quick manner, a few of us in the audit group kind of basically just sat down and said, okay, here's a brief timeline. We need to make a decision by, the fall of 2024, so we know we can figure out what are the next phases from there. We basically went through and said, hey, here's 5 or 6 folks that are, really know the audits, really know the technology, have helped implement some other smaller pieces of technology. Let's get that group together. Let's sit on the demos and let's figure out where we want to go. And then we really kind of sat through and said, okay, what do we think? What are the pros and cons? Do we have additional questions? Where do we go? Ever since we started looking at the pilot and really kind of starting to engage them in a time when not only was RSM's advanced CPA platform being discontinued, so I also know that, Caseware was just getting inundated with, calls and demos, but they were very agile, very prompt in getting us those demos. I think it was Money who came in and helped out, give us an initial demo, and fielded a lot of questions, worked through us, kind of gave us, really objective feedback. And I think that was, to me, a differentiator in the fact that, he wasn't just trying to sell you. He's saying, here's where we're at. I was an auditor. I use this. Here's why we're doing this. That collaboration not only is on the back end and the DAS platform itself, but also the way we're getting trained and the questions we can ask that are getting answered in a very thoughtful manner, which goes back to my comment on when we're getting those answers, we know it's coming from a source that really knows and has, quality people behind it amongst the standard setters. If you're thinking about it, get in front of it early, and make sure you have as long of a runway as you can do. That will allow you that time, that luxury of really kind of vetting out, how can we do this? It's different. It's still accomplishing the same goals, quite honestly, a lot better and in a more logical format than you're used to.